Hey guys, it's Dr. Krisho here. I'm a chiropractor in London, Ontario, Canada. Today we're going to be talking about how not to keep retweaking your back. So guess what I did? I retweaked my back. Just disclosure here, I've injured my spine many times. It's it's out of necessity that I've picked up Stuart McGill stuff and learning how to operate with my spine. So what was happening this weekend, now that we're unable to go to the gyms, I was horsing around with my children. I was, watching the iPad with them, laying in all sorts of just weird positions that I typically wouldn't lay in. I did my normal workout before training, and then putting on my shoe, bang, tweaked your back. And I learned something important that I knew before, but I figured if I put it on video, you would benefit, and my knucklehead would be able to retain the information. So there's really three conversations that we have to have, and the second and the third one are going to be exercises. The first one is the conversation around inflammation. So inflammation is a natural, normal response by your body in response to an injury. I don't like attempting to completely eliminate inflammation, since inflammation has a lot of beneficial things that come with it. White blood cells come to clear out any infection. It's your body's attempt to heal. Now, we want the optimal level of inflammation. We don't want too much inflammation. So things to think about with inflammation are, number one, that you're not putting any inflammatory things into your body while you're injured. So alcohol and processed foods and sugar and alcohol. I think I said alcohol twice, but either way. And you want to be making sure that you're drinking your water, you're moving as well as you possibly can, and you're taking your fish oil. And those are things that have been naturally shown to decrease, excess inflammation. So that's the inflammation conversation. That's just good advice in general, especially when you're injured. Now, for the exercises, most of us know number two. We know that we need to mobilize ourselves before we get training. However, and this is the lesson that I learned last week, we need to also learn how to fire certain groups of muscles for stabilization. So anatomically, when it comes to your body, you want your spine to be stable. Your spine does not like to move. It likes to be braced. It likes to be held tight. So for your warm-up should include activation exercises for your back. And I will show you some of these, okay? This is not going to be an exhaustive activation list. It's going to be something to think about. The ideas are, you want stabilization in your core. You want mobility in your hips. Most of your hinging, not most of it, all of it if possible, your hinging and your squatting needs to come from your hips, not your spine. Your knees like stability, which means that we need an activation exercise for your knees, and your ankles like mobility. So think of that process when you are getting ready to train in general. Oftentimes we tend to overvalue stretching and mobility and undervalue, like I did this past weekend, undervalue any bracing. Okay, so let's start with the ankles first. So remember, your ankles like mobility. So we want to make sure that our ankles are mobile. A simple way to test this, you can go against the wall. I've tried this video before, but even better is you can try to get down into a squat position. You can test your squat. Then what you're going to do, if you have a weight at home, it doesn't have to be super heavy, but you're going to get in this position where we're 90 and 90, and you're going to take the weight and you're going to put it on your knee. And then what you're going to do is you're going to try to, keeping your heel on the floor, drive your knee as far forward as possible, and we should be feeling a stretch at the front, and we'll do it on both sides. My pants are a little bit tight. You want to hold it for at least a minute, right? And again, you should be feeling it here. It's okay if your knee goes over your toe. We're trying to get the ankle mobile. And then you can retest your squat, and you should find that it's much easier to squat Your back is straighter. I'm squatting cold. You can already tell I'm looking at myself in the video. My back is a little bit straighter. So that's a good sign that we're starting to mobilize your ankles. Next, your knees. Your knees like stability. So what we want to do with your knees is we want to do something that activates them. So something as simple for your knees as possible. We want to activate your quads because your quads stabilize your knees. So something as simple as squatting. So we'll always do, 10 air squats, making sure that your knees are tracking out when you squat. You're going nice and slow, and what that's doing is that's firing up your quads. Moving on to the hips. Your hips like mobility. So what we can do for our hips is we can do the airplane. You want to make sure you're holding on to something solid, back nice and straight, core braced. I'm going to be targeting my left leg first. What's going to happen is I'm going to lift back and then opening up my pelvis. Whoa, and then closing my pelvis. So you want to do 6 times every side. Okay, so 6 times, and again, what you can do is you can always get back and you can always squat again. And the last one that we're going to be talking about is your spine. So a couple ways we can activate. Spine is getting down in this position. We can do some glute bridges. So you're going to be thrusting your pelvis up. You're going to be squeezing your butt at the top. What that does is that activates your core and your hamstrings. Then back down slow. The other one we can do is a dead bug. So opposite arm, opposite leg. And that gets your core nice and braced. And again, the purpose of this video is to get your whole body prepared to engage in some type of activity. And what you want is you don't, I'm having trouble speaking, you want all of the parts to be able to syncretically, complicated word, you want them to all be able to work together. So you're not just mobile, you're also ready to engage and strengthen and hold the parts that you're necessary, that you need to hold. If you have any questions for me, if you're looking for more specific exercises based on what's happened to you or your unique circumstance, post in the comments below. I would love to be able to help if I can. Have a wonderful day. Good luck training. I'll talk to you very, very soon.